Oftentimes, if you created the market, you ended up having, what people describe as moats. Because if you build your product right and it's enabled an entire ecosystem around you to help serve that end market, you've essentially created a platform. Sometimes it's a product-based platform, sometimes it's a service-based platform, sometimes it's a technology-based platform. But if you were early there and you were mindful about helping the ecosystem succeed with you, you ended up having this network of networks and all these developers and all these customers who are built around you.
Yep.
And that network is essentially your moat. And so, I don't love thinking about it in the context of a moat. And the reason for that is because you're now focused on building stuff around your castle. I tend to like thinking about things in the context of building a network. And that network is about enabling other people to enjoy the success of the final market, that you're not the only company that enjoys it, but you're enjoying it with a whole bunch of other people, including me.
I'm so glad you brought this up because I wanted to ask you, in my mind at least, and sounds like in yours too, NVIDIA is absolutely a platform company, of which there are very few meaningful platform companies in the world. I think it's also fair to say that when you started, for the first few years, you were a technology company and not a platform company. Every example I can think of a company that tried to start as a platform company fails. You got to start as a technology first. When did you think about making that transition to being a platform? Like your first graphics cards were technology. There was no CUDA, there was no platform.
Yeah, what you observed is not wrong. However, inside our company, we were always a platform company. And the reason for that is because from the very first day of our company, we had this architecture called UDA. It's the UDA of CUDA.
CUDA is Compute Unified Device Architecture?
Right, that's right. And the reason for that is because what we've done, what we essentially did in the beginning, even though Riva 128 only had computer graphics, the architecture described accelerators of all kinds. And we would take that architecture and developers would program to it. In fact, NVIDIA's first business strategy, was we were going to be a game console inside the PC. And a game console needs developers, which is the reason why NVIDIA, a long time ago, one of our first employees was a developer relations person. And so it's the reason why we knew all the game developers and all the 3D developers, and we knew everybody.
So wait, so was the original business plan to
sort of like to build DirectX?
Compete with Nintendo and Sega as with PCs?
The original NVIDIA architecture was called Direct NV. Direct NVIDIA, yeah. And DirectX was an API that made it possible for operating system to directly
address
connect
the
hardware. Yeah.
But DirectX didn't exist when you started NVIDIA, right? And that's what made your strategy wrong for the first couple of years.
In 1993, we had Direct NVIDIA.
Yeah.
And which in 1995 became, DirectX came out.
So this is an important lesson.
We were always a developer-oriented company.
The initial attempt was we will get the developers to build on Direct NV, and then they'll build for our chips, and then we'll have a platform. And
exactly.
What played out is Microsoft already had all these developer relationships. So you learned the lesson the hard way of yikes, we just got to
that's what Microsoft did back in the day. They're like, oh, that could be a developer platform. We'll take that. Thank you.
No, but they had a lot. They did it very differently, and they did a lot of things right.